Welcome to the Career Intelligence Podcast, your go-to resource for navigating the future of work in a world shaped by AI, innovation, and rapidly changing career paths. I'm Betsy Jewell, and today we're diving into a career strategy that is powerful, underused, and honestly hiding in plain sight. It's your alumni network. Whether you're a college student, a recent grad, or someone mid-career navigating a transition, today's conversation will completely change the way you think about networking. Alumni connections aren't just for homecoming week. They're one of the most effective, trust-based ways to build relationships, gain insight, and open doors across your entire career. I'm joined today by Michelle Stepp, an expert in alumni relations with nearly 30 years of experience. Michelle works in alumni engagement at Western Governors University and, by her own admission, is alumni obsessed. And after this episode, you might be too. We'll talk about why alumni networks are such a secret weapon, how to actually reach out without feeling awkward or salesy, the do's and don'ts that so many people get wrong, and how alumni connections can support you far beyond just job searching. If you've ever felt unsure about networking or wondered how to build real, meaningful connections, this episode is for you. Now let's dive in. Hi, Michelle. Thanks so much for being here today on the Career Intelligence Podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here to talk about alumni associations.
I am too. This is a conversation that doesn't happen enough, and you know that better than I do because
sure.
you live and work in this environment. But yeah, I mean, especially in today's market and with everybody struggling to find work, to get seen, to make connections, all the things, this is like a secret weapon that we're going to talk about today.
It is a secret weapon. As I like to tell people that your alumni network is included in your tuition. It's prepaid. It's a prepaid network. And so you need to take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. And the cool thing about this is, even though my focus is early career, college students, recent grads, this podcast is for anybody. And this strategy applies to everyone, right? No matter where you are in your career.
It really does. And I like to tell people, I mean, even if you're a student just starting out, it's never too early to start building your network. And people love hearing from students too. So, but also, I mean, there's people in their career many, many years down the road that they're constantly building their network and reaching out to people. And it's something you need to work on a weekly basis.
Right. Well, and now how long have you been working in alumni relations or alumni? Is that what alumni network?
Alumni relations, I've been here about 30 years, not to
Wow.
age myself, but I mean, I've been doing this a really, really long time. And my coworkers say I'm alumni obsessed. And so I really like that end of the university spectrum.
Cool. So I'm curious, how did you get into this work? Because it's not something that people go, when I graduate college, I want to work for the alumni network, right? Like, how does that happen?
Well, in college, I spent a lot of time working on university events, and I worked on homecoming, which I loved, and had a great time with that. And then my first real jobs out of college were in nonprofit fundraising, which I also loved and loved raising money for a good cause. So I got that end of the experience of raising money. But then I found a university that was hiring someone to work on homecoming. And I really loved that as a student. And I really didn't know that much about alumni relations, but I knew homecoming and I knew what it meant for the university and students and alumni both. And so I jumped into doing that and just stayed with it ever since.
Very cool. So let's take a step back and kind of look at the 30,000-foot big picture. I think a lot of people have this question. Why are alumni networks so powerful?
Right. Well, like I said, I mean, I work for Western Governors University. We have over 420,000 alumni.
Wow.
Well, that's potentially, a lot of people that you could be meeting, and think about the connections you can make there and the doors to opportunity it can open. So that every university has an alumni association. Obviously, not all of them have the numbers that we have, but I mean, there are connections to be made. But I want to hit on some high points of why they're so important, if you'll allow me the time.
Sure, of course.
One of them is that there's just a built-in trust factor to this. You have a shared educational experience, and that creates immediate credibility and a common ground, and it bypasses the cold contact that you're making with people. You have that immediate icebreaker. And then also there's a mutual investment mindset. Alumni feel a sense of obligation and a pride in helping people succeed that have gone to the university that they're gone to, and they view that the success is a reflection of their institution. And when you elevate alumni, it increases not only the value of their degree but also your degree. When you have
Mhm.
more successful people, that increases the value of your degree. Also, there's cross-generational access. Universities have been around for a very long time. They have people in all generations, in every aspect of their career, every geographic location. They have diverse perspectives that you won't find in just age-specific cohorts. Then also, I talked a little bit about the pay it forward culture. Most successful professionals remember someone who helped them, and they really take a lot of pride in returning that favor, and especially if it's someone that went to the university that they went to. A lot of people really like to reach back and help the next generation. And there's never a time that I tell someone to reach out to an alum that they don't say they loved it, you know,
Oh,
or they
uh-huh.
wish they could do more. Or WGU has a platform that we're using called Ask a Grad, and it's AI generated where people can put in a question and it matches them on the back end with alums that can answer it. And
That's
it's
genius.
amazing. And the results that we're seeing are fantastic. And people, all of the responses that we're seeing from alumni are so lengthy. They're putting so much time and effort into it. And it's a micro mentoring because you're only asked one question. And can you answer this question for this student or fellow alum? But a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, if you want more information, let's meet on Teams," or "Here's my phone number." But then we get the feedback from alumni where they're like, "Wow, that felt really good. That felt really good." And it's not a full mentorship relationship to where you're having to meet multiple times and you have this sense of obligation. You're answering one question. But alumni will report back and say, "Gosh, that felt really good." Or "I remember where I was, in the same exact position that person was in, trying to get my foot in the door, and it just felt great for me to give my experience and give them a little bit of tips." So everyone kind of has that feeling, that warm and fuzzy, and a lot of people really seek that out. So,
Yeah. I
and then
wonder, do other schools have that Ask a Grad type of platform? I've
a
not
lot of
heard of that
schools,
before.
it's growing now. A lot of schools have it, and like I said, it's growing. We've only used it for a year now, and it is phenomenal.
Mhm.
And we approve every question and every answer. So we look at every single thing to make sure people are getting a really great interaction from it.
Wow.
But the responses that people are giving are phenomenal.
Very
Um,
cool.
and then also I want to talk about the longevity advantage. Unlike workplace connections that dissolve when you change jobs,
Mhm.
alumni relationships are anchored in something a little bit different and something permanent, and that can help span your entire career.
That's
So
so
that's why
true.
an overview of why these things are so important.
You are so passionate about this. I love that. I love it, and you know so much about it.
Thank you.
So how do you get started? I know I have I'm sure people are sitting here listening, scratching their heads going, "Okay, this all sounds great. I wanna do it, but I'm afraid to reach out. I'm an introvert. I feel awkward."
Of course.
How do you get started?
Well, I think the first step in getting started is start with your university's alumni platform. Look at their website, look and see what resources you have available. A lot of institutions will have a searchable database or a closed community for alumni and students to meet each other, either a mentoring platform or just like a closed online community where you can chat with discussion boards and things like that. See if your university has that. And then also leverage LinkedIn. I know a lot of people don't love LinkedIn and it can be daunting at times, but learn how to use it strategically. You can search alumni on LinkedIn. You don't even have to have a premium membership. Like you can put in the search bar Western Governors University and what you're seeking. If you want to work at, let's say, Target, type in Target. If you want to meet people in Nashville, type in Western Governors Nashville, and it'll pull up all of those people that are alumni in that area. And then, try to find people who have second degree connections in LinkedIn
Mhm.
who can make those warm introductions for you. And then also, most universities have private LinkedIn groups. We have a private LinkedIn group that has, almost 55,000 people in it. And,
Wow.
and we're adding people daily. And those places are where conversations are happening, where people are meeting other alumni and they're talking about what they're looking for right now, what type of job, or I got laid off, what
Mm.
opportunities do you see out there? Those are really great closed platforms to join as well. And then, there's plenty of alumni events, traditional alumni events, whether in person or virtual. There's regional gatherings, there's industry specific kind of meetups, even kind of homecoming. Homecoming is a low pressure environment to meet a lot of people at a time and make initial connections. I do want to hit on a point of making sure your information is up to date with your university. A
Mm.
lot of times people graduate and they never give us their permanent email address, the Gmail. They
Right.
leave that school email. We need the one, how are we going to contact you going forward? Make sure your information is up to date. All alumni associations have a form where you can update your information. Make sure you have your current address where you live. A lot of event invitations for in-person events are sent based on where you live. And so if we don't have your correct, location, then you aren't going to get invited to those things. So that's a very crucial step in making sure that your information is up to date.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I know this is probably a silly question, but you don't alumni associations don't charge, right? You don't have to pay for membership, do you?
Some are dues-based organizations. Most are going away from that now. But then there's also some events that will charge a fee, based on the activity that's provided. But usually it's a really low barrier to entry, maybe $10 or something like that
Oh,
for a
okay.
networking event. But most alumni associations are not dues paying anymore.
Okay. All right. So here's a question. And I talk about this with my clients all the time, because they're like, well, I want to reach out to someone on LinkedIn, or in this case, through an alumni association. Can I just tell them what kind of job I'm looking for and if they can help me? And I'm like, no, 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 that's not where we start. It's about the relationship, right? So, what advice do you give to, particularly to students and grads, about how to kind of start, cultivate that relationship, warm it up, build that before, asking for anything?
Right. And so I think there's things that you want to say, and then there's things that you don't want to say. And right off the bat, I tell people to lead with curiosity. Make sure you're looking through their LinkedIn page. Do some homework, and you could reach out and say, "I noticed you made the transition from nursing to healthcare administration, and I'm exploring a similar path." That's far more compelling than a generic request. I would
Hmm.
also, like we talked about before, lead with, "I'm a fellow WGU graduate." That's an instant icebreaker. And I
Hmm.
tell people that not just in alumni associations, but really any organization that you're in, you know, um, like fraternities and sororities.
Right.
That's a huge alumni organization too. And you can mention any of those things. You can say Rotary or, any of the, look for that common ground and reach out and say, oh, you're in this, I'm in this. And most times it will open the door and they will respond. You might not get exactly what you're looking for out of the relationship, but most people will respond. And then make it easy to say yes. You know,
Hmm.
if you're asking for someone's time, offer some specific time options, suggest maybe 15 to 20-minute conversation, but be really flexible about your format, phone, video, coffee, those things. Um, Ask for advice and not favors is
Hmm.
another thing. Would you be willing to share insights about your career path? Lands much better than, hey, can you refer me for this job? Or I'm looking at this job where you work. Can you send me a referral when that person doesn't
Right.
even know you?
Right.
And then also show genuine interest in their story. Like I said, do some research on them, prepare some thoughtful questions about their career decisions, the challenges that they faced, and what they may have wished that they had known, um, and go from there.
Yeah, I tell my clients all the time, people love to tell their story. Like if you ask them about their career journey or how they got started or even about their time in school, it's rare that somebody will say, I don't want to talk about that.
That's right. People love to talk about themselves. I mean,
They
they
do.
really do. Like,
They do.
they really do. And then I would say, some of the things not to say that I tell people not to say, don't send generic copy and paste messages.
Mhm.
Really kind of personalize it. You saying, "I'd love to pick your brain." Well, a lot of people hate that phrase, "I'd love to pick your brain" anyway. But it also signals that you haven't invested time in personalizing your outreach to them.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and you're also asking for their expertise for free.
Right.
But also a lot of people are turned off by that phrase, "pick your brain." Uh, and then, don't apologize excessively for reaching out. "I'm so sorry to bother
Mhm.
you,"
Mhm.
those type of things that undermines your confidence. And, your networks are based on these connections of positivity and recognizing the value of this connection. Don't make it all about you. Don't just
Right.
put long paragraphs in there with your background without acknowledging them and what they've done and their expertise. Don't shift the dynamic back to you. And also don't ignore their time constraints. Don't request hour-long meetings or being vague about what you want or vague about your availability. Show respect for their schedule and the time that they're giving you for free out of the goodness of their heart.
All great advice. So how do you once you've made that connection and you've started to build that relationship, how do you turn that conversation into an actual opportunity? And
Right.
again, how do you sort of feel that out and know when or what is too much to ask when, right? How do you know
Right.
when the timing's right?
Well, and I think that falls under what the mistake a lot of people make is that they expect an immediate outcome.
Mhm.
And relationship building takes time, especially when it's, starting off with a complete stranger or someone. It's a little bit different when someone has introduced you to someone because you have a mutual friend, but it's someone you've never known that it's going to take a little bit more time. Um, so I would say, take notes on the advice
Mhm.
that you're given, the resources shared, the connections that you're offered. Send a thank you to them. Referring things that you learned in that conversation. Gratitude goes a long way.
Mhm.
It really does. When you thank people for their time and you appreciate their expertise, then they're willing to give you even more in the future and continue that relationship. Um, Create reasons to stay in touch. When you're on LinkedIn, start commenting on their LinkedIn post. Congratulate them on a milestone that they've had, or something like that. Position yourself as a connector. I'm a
Mhm.
connector. One of my
Mhm.
favorite things is if I'm talking to Betsy and I'm like, "Oh, she's doing this. Oh, Betsy, have you met so and so? They're doing something really similar to what you're doing. I think you guys would really hit it off." And make that introduction. So, you're providing value to the relationship as well. You're not just taking and taking and taking. And then also, I would say ask the who else question, which I get
Mhm.
people to do this with me a lot, and I love it when you say at the close of the conversation, "Is there anyone else you think I need to meet?"
Yep. I do the same thing, and I preach that to everyone.
I preach it to everybody too. I love it because on my end, when someone says, "Is there anybody else you think I should meet?" I know who my network is, and I know who is willing to talk to you,
Yep.
who probably has time to talk to you, and who doesn't have time to talk to you, and who the database in my head is spinning with me thinking, "Who do I know that can get you to the point where you're trying to get to?"
Yep.
And then I introduce them to that person or multiple people. But I love that question. And maybe they say they don't know or they need some time to think about it, and that's fine too.
Mhm.
But I think it's a great question to ask at the end. And I think most people are flattered by that, that they think that you have enough network and value that you know multiple people that can help them. And then finally, I think you just, like I said before, be really patient with the relationship building.
Mhm.
The best opportunities often emerge from, third or fourth interactions when you really get to know somebody, not the first conversation. You've got to really build the trust and the rapport with people.
Yeah. I always say relationship building is a long game, it's not a short
It
game.
really is.
And while it may not pay off for this job that you're looking for, it may pay off, 2 or 3 jobs later. You never know when your paths are gonna cross, you never know when you're gonna tap into that part of your network, so yeah. Um, okay, so alumni networks have so much value for so many reasons. How else should people be really tapping into them and using them or, getting value from them besides just job search?
Right. So there's so much value to it, like you said. And I think some of the ways that people need to train their thinking of ways that alumni can help is, mentorship is great. Like I said, the platform that we have, Ask a Grad, is great. If you're, it's really hard for an alumni association to one-on-one match people
Mm,
as part,
mhm.
especially at the scale that we have.
Yeah.
We have so many people and only so many staff, so that's great. And alumni can offer some suggestions on salary negotiations.
Mhm.
What are you seeing right now as far as salary? We're having a lot of people write in to Ask a Grad right now about, is now a good time to get more education? Do I need a graduate
Mm,
degree to do this job? What are
hmm,
you seeing in the field right now? Will it give me more pay? Will I be a better candidate or not? And some jobs you might not. So
mhm,
it's really great to get that expertise from the field. We're seeing a lot of people come back and ask about work life balance. How are
mhm,
you managing to do it all right now? Um, a lot of questions about that, and people are so candid about it. I love it because the alumni are really giving great tips, and how they got through school. Because most of our students have a family and a job.
mhm.
That's our demographic, and so those are great questions. And I think also you can ask about industry insights and trends. What are you seeing right now? What would make me the best candidate? For tech people, it's what other certifications do I need? Or do I need any? Or does it matter? Or, things like that. I've seen a lot of responses on that. Entrepreneurial support.
Oh, yeah, for
Do you
sure.
want a fellow alumni can become co-founders of something you're doing, or you can reach out and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about building this. What do you think?" They could be investors or advisors. That's a great thing that we're seeing. Geographic transitions. You're moving to a new city. You can just ask somebody, "Hey, I'm looking for this kind of area of town. Where would that be?" Or I'm looking for schools for my children. Where are the best schools? Here's what I'm looking for. It doesn't always have to be in a professional realm. It can just be, tell me about the town I'm thinking about moving to your town. Tell me about the good, the bad, the ugly of that
Yeah.
area. Sometimes alumni will share about skill development. Where are you seeing the best um, places to build my skills in certain areas? And they'll share. We have alumni that'll share uh, people they love on YouTube.
Mm,
Influencers on YouTube, especially people that are software development, cybersecurity, people like that. There's a lot of really great influencers out there for that. Board service and volunteer opportunities, if you're interested in that. A lot of alumni serve on nonprofit boards or professional associations, and those are great contacts to make for leadership development experiences. And also, what I want to talk finally about is reverse mentoring. Never
mm.
leave out younger people than you. I love reverse mentoring. I learned so much from younger people. They just
Agreed.
they just offer tremendous value on topics like emerging technology. What's
Mhm.
up and coming? What are they seeing? Social media strategy. What's hitting
Yeah.
across all generations? Generational workplace dynamics. We're all learning about that, and that's stuff that at my age we didn't talk a lot about that when I was younger, but it's really become a thing now. I love reverse mentoring. So
Yeah,
those are
I
some good
agree. I
ones.
just posted about this on LinkedIn. I wanna say it was last week about, you know, the younger generations can learn from the older generations, but the opposite is true. We
Very
are
much.
learning so much from Gen Z and what they're bringing to the table. So,
So much.
yeah. Oh, that's so
I
so
love it,
good.
and I feel like it keeps me young. I mean,
That too. Well, you like me have a Gen Zer, so
Yep, I do.
um
Yep,
we live in that world as well as work in that world.
yep. And I always tell people, people have a lot to say about Gen Z, but I tell you what, I'm completely impressed with them. And
Same.
when they get in the working world, especially middle management and above, they're going to change the game. And I hope
Totally
I'm
agree
around to
with
see it.
you.
I hope I'm around to see it. So
Same.
exciting.
Same. Right there with you. Okay, so before we go, what what about like some do's and don'ts? What are some common mistakes that people are making that we want to kind of say, don't do that? And
Yep.
any just tips or success advice before
Sure.
we wrap
I
this up?
think the common mistakes, only networking when you're desperate. Don't wait till
Mm,
you need a job or you've been laid off to really work on these relationships. It should be something you're working on every week. You know, um, Making new acquaintances on LinkedIn, commenting on people's posts, joining organizations where you can meet more people. Uh, Work on it every week. Also, failing to reciprocate or give back. Taking advice from other people and you're not giving anything back, it depletes your network's goodwill. You want to be someone who's known as contributing as well. Um, Another thing is neglecting to update your own profile. Make sure that your LinkedIn is updated, and before you need it, because that helps other people find you. Not only are you seeking out these relationships, but other people are seeking you out for advice. So make sure that your profile is updated. And also, I want to plug at this point that if you don't know how to update your profile or what you should say, I'll plug career services. Every university has a career services department, and they will sit down with you, most of them one on one, and really work on your profile, niche down to your specific industry, which I think is important too. So definitely do that. Ghosting people after you get what you need, you know, after they have helped you land a job or, given you the advice that you need and you just, neglect the relationship after that. Being too transactional too quickly, rushing to close the deal on something or get somebody to refer you for a job. Sometimes that will backfire. So those are some of the common mistakes. And then I think some of the best advice I have is, like I said before, start before you need something. You know, build your relationships when you're in stable periods. So your network is always warm should you need it. When you do something that, you have, it's not you just popping out, you know, out of nowhere and asking for a favor. Like you have these warm networks ready to go. And then I think quality over quantity. I feel like 5 meaningful relationships are better than 50 superficial LinkedIn connections any day. So focus on that and think long game. We've talked about that, think decades, not days. The person that you talk to now might not be able to do anything for you right now, but you don't know where they're going to be in 5 or 10 years. And they might be advocating for you. They may rise to a hiring position. Let's see what else. Your success reflects on your network. When you thrive, your alumni community celebrates and wants to support you further. A lot of times universities, we always want to brag on our alumni if you're doing something great, like, and promote yourself and we can promote you because like I said, that increases the value of the degree. And then contribute to the ecosystem, give back. As you advance, help people along the way, reach back and help the next generation with all that you can. People appreciate that help and that guidance and mentorship.
Well, first of all, WGU is doing so much right, but I have to believe that a lot of that comes from you.
That's
And
so kind of you, Betsy. Thank you.
I feel sorry for other universities that don't have you, or I hope they have someone like you. Like, seriously, the amount of knowledge, like you have such a depth of knowledge and just so much experience in this area that will add. I can just think of all of my clients right now, but even beyond them, so many people that need to hear this advice because this is just not, it's just not talked about enough and not promoted enough and not, so we're going to do that. We're giving it a
Great.
voice. We're going to
Fantastic.
amplify it. So I know people will want to reach out to you.
Sure.
What's the best way? I mean, obviously LinkedIn. Any other ways you prefer people reach out to you? Is it email or
Yeah,
social
LinkedIn
or?
is great. Look me up on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with you. I'm happy to speak about any of these topics with you and a little bit more in depth. Or if you have a group of people that want to learn more about it, I'm willing to jump in that because I'm alumni obsessed. I want all the people to take advantage of all the resources that they have available for them. You can also email me at Michelle with 2 L's dot Stepp, STEPP at WGU.edu.
Great. We will put all those links in the show notes. And thanks so, so, so much for being here. This was so fun. I'm really glad that you were able to join me today.
Thanks for having me. I love talking about this stuff anytime. I get crazy passionate about it and probably talk too long, so thanks for listening.
Anytime. Okay. This conversation was such an important reminder that networking doesn't have to feel transactional or intimidating. It can be human, generous, and incredibly powerful when done the right way. A huge thank you to my guest, Michelle Stepp. For everybody listening, if this episode resonated with you, here's the big takeaway. You don't have to do this alone. I know that reaching out to people you don't know can be intimidating and feel awkward. I get it. It's not easy. But here's the good news. I'm here to help you. Whether you're a student, a recent grad, or someone navigating a career pivot, Learning how to tap into your alumni network strategically is a skill, and it's one I help clients build every day through my coaching practice. If you want support crafting an alumni outreach message that actually gets a response, using LinkedIn strategically instead of randomly, or building a warm, long-term network, not just scrambling when you need a job, I'd love to coach you through it. You can learn more about working with me, and you can schedule a free discovery call by visiting my website at betsyjewelcoaching.com, or simply reach out to me on LinkedIn. All the links and Michelle's contact information will be in the show notes. And if you found value in today's episode, please take a moment to follow the Career Intelligence Podcast. Leave a review and share this episode with a student grad or a friend who could use a smarter approach to career growth. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep building your career intelligence.